May 3, 1945. The Baltic Sea was calm, but the air was thick with war's final breath. In the dying days of Nazi Germany, the SS Cap Arcona carried thousands of concentration camp prisoners, unaware they were about to face a new horror from above. Tonight, we uncover the true story of the SS Cap Arcona disaster, a tragedy lost to the chaos of war. The SS Cap Arcona was once a jewel of the seas. Launched in 1927, she was a grand ocean liner, gleaming white hull, elegant decks, and a reputation for luxury that carried her from Hamburg to South America. But the Cap Arcona's final voyage would be one of horror and betrayal. By 1945, she had been stripped of her elegance and repurposed for a darker mission. The Third Reich was crumbling, and as Allied forces closed in, the Nazis crammed thousands of concentration camp prisoners onto the Cap Arcona and two other ships, the Thielbeck and the Athen. These prisoners, political dissidents, Jews, and resistance fighters, had survived the camps, only to find themselves prisoners once again. The Nazi guards told them they were being transported to freedom. In truth, they were to be scuttled at sea, sacrificed to hide the horrors of the camps from the world. No one aboard the Cap Arcona knew their true fate, except those who had planned it. On the morning of May 3, 1945, British Royal Air Force Typhoon fighter bombers spotted the ships anchored in the Bay of Lübeck. The pilots believed the ships were carrying fleeing SS officers. Intelligence had failed to reveal the prisoners' presence. With orders to strike, they unleashed rockets and cannon fire. The first rocket slammed into the Cap Arcona's decks, igniting fuel and wooden fittings. Flames raced through the ship, turning corridors and cabins into burning mazes. Prisoners, still locked in the holds, pounded on steel doors as smoke filled their lungs. Some managed to break free, only to find the decks already a hell of fire and confusion. Survivors described the scene as an apocalypse, men and women leaping from the rails, the icy water swallowing them whole. Flames leapt higher than the masts, and the air was filled with the screams of those trapped below. The Cap Arcona's beautiful white hull glowed red in the inferno, a ghost ship consumed by its own death throes. The British pilots had no idea that their mission had become a massacre. The sea itself turned black with oil and ash. In the chaos, some prisoners managed to swim for the Thielbeck, only to find her fate was the same, rockets tearing through her decks, sending her to the bottom. Lifeboats were few, and many who made it into the freezing Baltic died of cold before rescue ever came. By the end of the day, the Cap Arcona had capsized and sunk. Nearly 5,000 prisoners perished in the disaster, more than on the Titanic and the Lusitania combined. In the final days of the Reich, the Nazis had condemned them to die twice, first in the camps and then in the icy Baltic. The British pilots would learn only later what they had done, an intelligence failure that cost thousands of innocent lives. But the true blame lay with the Nazi regime that had turned a luxury liner into a floating prison with no mercy and no chance for survival. In the days that followed, the Baltic's waves carried the dead to shore, bodies washing up on beaches for weeks. Locals buried them in shallow graves, the only memorial they would have for decades. For many families, there was no closure, no name on a gravestone, no final farewell. The wreck of the Cap Arcona lies on the seabed still, a silent monument to the horror and cruelty of war. Divers who visit speak of a ghostly calm, a vast ship frozen in time, its cabins still filled with the memories of those who never saw land again. Today, the Cap Arcona disaster is a footnote in history books, overshadowed by the larger tides of World War II. But for those who survived, clinging to wreckage in the freezing waters, listening to the cries of their fellow prisoners, it is a memory that will never fade. The Cap Arcona disaster is a testament to the final madness of the Nazi regime, a final act of betrayal that claimed thousands of innocent lives. It is a story of death, of fire and ice, and of the terrible cost of human cruelty. Thank you for listening to the Sunken Ledger. Subscribe for more true tales from the depths.